if it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kinda patient, cause only time will tell. It's gonna go up, so you better stay calm. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins. Grow your coins, grow your coins. Grow your coins, you gotta grow your coins.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and today we're going to talk about some big deals. I mean, honestly, because there's a lot of there's just a lot happening in the crypto space. We're going to be talking about Biden. We're going to be talking about Janet Yellen. We're going to be talking a little bit about price action in the crypto space, and ultimately why I sold all my crypto. It is what it is. I mean, I see a lot of people questioning it, wondering what the hell's wrong with me, and so forth and so on. And I'm going to explain why in a little more detail than I did in a previous video, so that people kind of understand my personal mindset. I'm not telling everybody they should run off and sell everything they have. It's just for me in my particular situation, it made the most sense. You know, I feel like I've been studying the market long enough that, listen, it was a good call for me. You know, I sold my Bitcoin at 46 grand. I sold my Ethereum at 4,000 something. I don't remember, but it was above 4 grand. And I sold my ADA. Not all of it. I still kept 100,000 ADA in my staking node. Not ever planning on touching that. That my node is what it is. I'm hoping my node runs forever and ever and continues to grow. It's the CROW node. If you don't know, now you know. And but I did sell the rest of it for the most part at like $1.46. And you know, I do plan on buying back, but I'm waiting for a bottom, and that's ultimately what we're going to talk about. What do I think is happening in the crypto space? When do I think a bottom could potentially hit? And I've got a paid segment for RBX Samurai, which is actually kind of an interesting thing. They're a project that I've been wondering how long it was going to be. They ultimately took an idea that I had a while back, not specifically my idea, just something that I thought would be a good idea as a use case for a cryptocurrency, and they did it. And they're doing it in a very interesting and very cool way from what I can see. So we're going to cover that as well. Maybe some of you guys will have some fun with it. So starting off, looking at the crypto market right now, over the last 7 days, we're up 11.5% on Bitcoin's price, currently trading at about 37.6. Not too bad. Ethereum up 16.85% at 2,500. That's really cool. I'm seeing basically a Cardano doing what it typically does. It's kind of sleeping, up only 3% right now. I still do not understand. Well, I do understand. When I look at the price action for Cardano and I see the sentiment, you've got a project like Solana up 9.41%, 9.43%. What has Solana proven to anybody so far, other than it's like it's been hacked, it's centralized pretty much. I mean, the majority of it's owned by like the team and venture capital groups. But this kind of goes to, you know, what you don't see a lot of, or really much of any, I don't recall seeing any, like with Cardano, is you don't see a big marketing machine. Honestly, you just don't see a big marketing machine in Cardano. They've built their reputation and what they've done based off of what they're trying to do, what they accomplish. And like Charles going on an AMA all the time, you know what I mean? Like explaining what's happening in their ecosystem and the different teams and things. So they don't seem to be doing very much marketing. If they are, it's like an article here and there about, you know, this country or that country adopting the blockchain and what they're using it for, which is all cool. you see a lot of hype type stuff, hype marketing out of the Solana camp from what I can see. And not just Solana, but a lot of the others. And ultimately, that's kind of a part of the nature of this video as we dive in and we kind of look at things, because we're seeing some gainers right now, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, it really doesn't. Now, we're going to move into some price here. Currently this is Bitcoin's weekly chart on a logarithmic. Okay, this is a logarithmic chart. And like I've said before, if we're looking at the 200-week moving average, as this continues to go, I believe that this is the bottom, right? I believe that, right now as it sits, 20 grand looks to be about the potential bottom for Bitcoin. But when we reach that, it may take a while, because what I can honestly see happening, we all know that like February, like right now it's January 31st. So, next month Biden is going to be releasing his executive order. Apparently, well, it's rumored that he's announcing a big executive order directly related to crypto and crypto regulation and Janet Yellen. Ultimately, it looks like he wants Janet Yellen to just kind of run everything as it relates to cryptocurrency. Now, I've been very bearish on Janet Yellen because, I refer to a lot of these politicians as old heads. Like, in Puerto Rico, they call all the old people, the old war veterans, like everyone over a certain age in Puerto Rico is a veteran. I mean, and which I actually thought was cool, but they refer to a lot of these older people's old heads. They're like set in their ways. You can't tell them shit. Some of them are grumpy, like they're just old heads. They're like, oh, they're old. They're kind of tired. They just want to be left alone. And I kind of consider Janet Yellen a bit of an old head. A lot of these politicians are, because I feel like they're struggling to some degree. Well, you know what? I assume they're struggling, but the reality is, they're probably not struggling at all. If anything, I feel like they feel like they're babysitting and they just don't want to deal with all the crazy kids. And so what would you do if you were in a position where you're trying to regulate a space that changes on a dime weekly, it seems, and just seems to pose a lot of problems for a system that you've already spent your entire career building and facilitating and building relationships in and so forth and so on? Well, I mean, you might just send it off to an orphanage. I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, it's just kind of the gist of it. Now, and there's a greater plan at stake, I think. And the question is, how does cryptocurrency work into that greater plan? Whether it's, you want to call it a great reset or whatever you want to call it, right? There's a lot happening right now. And the thing of it is when I think about the current administration and everything I've seen to date, I just can't help but feel like none of this is actually happening coming out of Biden. I feel like Biden is just kind of there. He's like supposed to be this sweet old grandpa type guy who walks real slow and just kind of rickety. And every time I see him, I just wait for him to drop. I don't know why. I feel like he's got a lot of issues. I don't know that he does. I mean, nobody does, because none of it's ever come out if there are any issues. I just feel like he comes off as a very frail old man, and somebody who is just, come on, man, just kind of wants to get along and try to help everybody be happy. But I don't think that's what's actually happening personally. And I just I'm very fearful, honestly. I'm quite fearful of what's coming down the pipe from these folks, because I just can't imagine any of it to be being focused towards benefiting any one of us. I really just don't. There is an infinitely old system in place right now, and that's the one that they all know and love. And I think that this new era of finance is just blossoming, and with that there are a lot of new challenges and security issues and fraudulent type issues. There's just so much, the money laundering side of things. That is a big deal in crypto, folks. I mean, you can't ignore that. And before any of you say, oh, Crow is a whatever, Crow leans this way, Trump has come out a million times saying he hated Bitcoin. He didn't trust it. He doesn't want anything to do with it, blah, 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 blah. This isn't a right or left issue, so don't take it there. I just call it how I see it, for better or worse. I don't give a fuck what you think. It's just, I am not one of those people that's been pre-programmed to think a certain way, to look at certain. I remember when I grew up Catholic. This is an example. I grew up Catholic. And my family's very, very Catholic, and I love my family, and I care for them all dearly. Some people in my family I think are crazy. They're completely snowblind to all of this stuff. They just have no idea what's happening, but they're very well educated, and they think they know better. They want to believe certain things, and so they ultimately look to. It's like they look for confirmation bias in a lot of ways. Growing up Catholic, when I was reading books or I was given music or whatever. I was taught how to look for the little Catholic symbol on the back of a book. If it didn't have that, don't read it. Right. And it's like this indoctrination, and it's people subscribe to a certain belief pattern, and then they only want confirmation bias from there because they don't want anything to shake their reality. Okay. And I see a lot of that in politics. I see it in just about everything. It's like everything is some form of cult. It's a matter of what do you subscribe to. I subscribe to none of it. I think it's all bullshit, personally. I think ultimately what it boils down to, especially in this country, is control and power. And that is it. And anything used to facilitate that will be. And so I look at everything with wide open. The movie Eyes Wide Shut. Guarantee you 90% of you that watched that movie had no fucking idea what was happening. I did, because I researched it. I studied that movie for years. Okay. There's a lot to be said about that film. And, I see so much ignorance being spread all over the place. That's not what I'm trying to do. But when I say I'm weary, it's because I'm weary for good reason, okay? I'm not somebody that just buys into anything thrown at me on the local news channel, because all that to me is controlled to a large extent as well. I don't feel like there's no such thing as true journalism anymore outside of the mainstream. Anything that I feel is being represented well or is actually true journalism, you're not going to find it copied and pasted across every news network in the country in the same hour. Okay. That's just not how journalism works. You're seeing a lot of the propaganda media ultimately really suffering now, because people are starting to wake up and they're getting really, really sick of it. And when you're in a position where you just don't know where to look or who to trust or what to do, you get really, really frustrated. And I think that, ultimately, listen, I think there will be a time, hopefully, where things get better. I talked to, back before I moved to Puerto Rico, I talked to a gentleman, he's a lawyer in Portugal, because I thought, well, maybe Portugal will be a good place to go. And really a big part of it at the time was we were just looking for a place to live that was just different. We wanted new culture. We wanted new people. We wanted a new environment. We just wanted to live somewhere that was outside, potentially or hopefully outside of the realm of just shittiness. I mean, really. And it was like, okay, between the crypto stuff and everything else, maybe this is an opportunity. Portugal is a socialist country. I mean, the lawyer told me flat out, like, we went through the same stuff in the 70s that you guys are going through now. It's just amazing how so many people in America don't see it. They just really don't. You guys don't really see it. And I'm like, oh, I see it. This is one of the reasons why we're trying to get the hell out. And it was kind of a joke how, so many people here are they just can't fathom the idea that civilization is drastically changing before their eyes, and many of them are being used as pawns to facilitate that exact change. And it's not for the better. It's not for them. That's for sure. They think it is because they use a lot of this virtue signaling in echo chambers to kind of, I don't know, man. It's almost like this peer pressure. Like, just smoke it. It'll be fun. You'll love it. Just smoke it. And then you're dead. Like, I mean, that's just kind of the way I see a lot of this stuff. It's just pure insanity. And oftentimes it just seems like the blind leading the blind. Now, that was a very long-winded, 15 minutes. I should probably edit that, but I'm not, because it's just real. It's just how I think. And it's my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. I'm always right sometimes, as we know. But anyway, looking at Bitcoin's price, what's going on, I just think that we are in a place where we might see a little bit of a short-term reversal. and bounce off of, you know, like a 45,000 or something like that, and then come crashing back down. That's just where I think we're at. I was calling for a two peak market for years in the last bear market. Well, technically we got them. I mean, it's just, we never got this parabolic peak up into the blue of a logarithmic scale, and that bothered me. And I thought, well, we've got to be going higher. I mean, we've never not hit that. We've never not achieved certain metrics within the crypto ecosystem, but here we are. This is what it is. I think we're in a bear market. I mean, I don't think so. It's confirmed, and it's been confirmed multiple times. And as much as I want to say we're going to the moon this year, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. It's possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible in the same vein that what we've done here was possible, because it happened. It's right in front of our eyes. We didn't get a parabolic run up. We didn't get a big altcoin splash. Part of that is probably because there's 20,000 shitcoins on the market right now, and not all of them can suck up all the money. I mean, we have so many more assets in the ecosystem right now than ever before. And if everything out there is holding a market cap in the millions, okay, in the grand scheme of things, let's just say that predominantly it's all in the millions. How are we ever going to get parabolic runs up? I mean, think about it. In 2017, I think there were 4,000 assets. There were like 4,000 different crypto assets. Of course we could get a parabolic run. It was a lot easier to pump everything then. We could take $1 trillion, drop Bitcoin's dominance down to like 28% or whatever, pump all the altcoins in the market, get another parabolic run, and the altcoin have an altcoin season. We all cash out and go back to our lives and let the bear market take shape. It's a lot more difficult to do that now, especially considering the fact that we've got institutions that are buying and they're holding and they're doing what they do. And on top of that, they're buying and they're selling over the counter. They're not buying on, you know, $5 billion worth of crypto on Binance. They're just not doing that. They're going and they're doing over the counter deals. Hell, even Kraken, a U.S. exchange, U.S. regulated exchange, they offer over the counter assistance. It's not the same market we're used to seeing. And I feel stupid. I feel stupid that I didn't see it this way. I didn't realize we were already here. A lot of people, institutions are coming. They're here. They've been here for a long time. They've just been accumulating and holding and keeping their mouth shut. If anything, when they come out publicly to say anything, it's to try and suppress the market so they can continue averaging in portfolios and averaging in over time. But we weren't really seeing a lot of that. And we think that because of how many of us there are that were early adopters and we're used to seeing these parabolic runs, listen, I think we're entering a point where we're just going to start trading with a Wyckoff accumulation, a Wyckoff distribution cycle, and those cycles are going to get smaller until we ultimately look more sideways. Look at the bear bull markets of NASDAQ and of the traditional stock markets. You're not seeing these parabolic runs because it's a much more universal market where the players are doing things differently. And with like 20,000 assets, I mean, let's take a look. Does this tell me? Well, this is Market Samurai. We're going to get to that later. But if we're looking at things, does it tell? I don't remember where it tells me how many assets there are. It's been a while since I've looked at that metric. Crypto, 17,239 cryptocurrencies. Okay. We're not going to get big parabolic runs over 17, almost 18,000, 18,000 cryptocurrencies, especially when the majority of them are complete shit shows. I mean, any of us can create a cryptocurrency and say a whole bunch of fun stuff about it, but it doesn't mean shit. Now, looking at Cardano's price, it's been going sideways after a bit of a dip since basically the 18th. So, I mean, we've come down quite a bit, but it looks like we're going sideways more or less. Ethereum has done almost the same thing, except recently it's had this little pump where Cardano's been pretty much stagnant during the same time period. And because Ethereum has pumped a bit, we're looking at, this is ultimately Cardano against Ethereum's value. It's been dropping a little bit. Because Ethereum is pumping and Cardano is not. And that's the difference here. And we're waiting ultimately for new milestones. Now, ultimately, what does all of this mean to me? What it means is I can see us going down further. I don't know, maybe we hit 36 grand or something. And then we start to bounce off of that. We come up to, I don't know, 41,000. And then we come and we bounce down off of that into, you know, a much lower low. And ultimately, maybe that's where we start heading towards this. But here, by the time we bounce off of this, or by the time we hit this 200 moving average on a weekly candle or on a weekly chart, this is going to be higher. So maybe we come down from 41, we bounce off of 25, and boom, we start an accumulation period heading into the next bull market. Okay, that's ultimately what I can see playing out here, which is one of the reasons why I sold when I did. And so, you know, it is what it is. Don't hate me. I'm not trying to spread FUD, but let's look at some of the reasons why I think it's more likely to go down from here than to go up. Now, Biden coming for your crypto, stricter rules and higher taxes on the way. This is one thing this administration loves, is just jacking up taxes on everything and everybody, which scares the holy hell. I saw this video once where this guy was talking about how taxation works for every dollar. And ultimately, by the time the government is finished taxing that a single dollar in circulation, that dollar is only about 30 cents. So in other words, the government is ultimately, everything is structured already to take like 70%, 70 cents or 73 cents or something like that to every dollar in circulation. And that was a conservative estimate. And they're constantly trying to get more of it. Every time we turn around, they're constantly increasing taxes, adding new taxes. It's just so rampant. And they say that it's because they need to curb inflation and they need to pay back all this debt. Look at how much money has been spent in the past year, burnt. Like, and for what? And it's like people just don't see it, or they don't get it, or they don't care because they're not in a position in life where any of this seems to matter too much to them, especially if they're working a W-2 job. They make the same, everything is the same all the time. They live a life of routine. They're not really trying to accelerate their livelihood or their lifestyle or anything. They're just kind of stagnant in where they're at. They're content there, and so nothing else matters. And from there, they just basically vote on emotion. Like, I don't know. It's absolutely nuts to me. You know what? It's also it's nuts to me that I never even personally cared about any of this stuff until I like my late 30s. Like, I was never political in any way. I didn't give a shit. I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I'm young. Nothing of this has anything to do with me. And it's that mindset ultimately that, you know, I played a role in helping us get to where we're at today, because I didn't give a shit for the longest time. The majority of my life, I never cared because I just didn't see how it affected me. To me, it just always looked like one big play for the public, just to give the illusion of choice to begin with. I don't know. Maybe that's more now true than ever, but I don't know. So anyway, let's look at this in a little bit of with an objective perspective here for a minute. Last week, under a national security memorandum, the Biden administration said it would analyze crypto with the intent to build a regulatory framework, which we need. I mean, we do. We need a more clear framework for crypto overall, because it is kind of out of hand to some extent. The threat of stricter crypto regulation is nothing new. I've had like a little bit of a cold or something. Not really, but I just the allergies because it's been so cold. But this time, given the heightened priority of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, some say incoming regulation provides the ideal backdrop to take down the decentralized opposition. With that in mind, what are the prospects of regulatory overreach and bigger tax bills for the crypto crowd? A crypto framework is long overdue, but whether you agree with regulation or not, more rules are on the way. And from the perspective of subduing the crypto Wild West, there's a strong argument that is necessary to limit the influence of bad actors. At the same time, if there's one thing the health crisis has revealed, it's that there's more bubbling under the surface than publicly shown. This leads some to ponder the possibility that authorities are hell-bent on killing crypto. After all, why is the International Monetary Fund, IMF, basically big global bank cartel, so concerned about Bitcoin's status as legal tender in El Salvador? And I read the other article where basically the IMF is leaning on El Salvador, saying, get out of Bitcoin and come back to us. It's like El Salvador's like, kiss it, like we're good, we don't need your loans anymore. Publicly, the IMF says Bitcoin threatens El Salvador's financial stability and integrity. There are large risks associated with the use of Bitcoin on financial stability, financial integrity, and consumer protection, as well as the associated fiscal contingent liabilities. And to some degree, that's true because it is so volatile. How can you base an entire country's economy around a crypto digital asset that can fluctuate thousands of dollars in an afternoon? You know, when you're talking about traditional markets, you're talking about even if you got a 5% upswell in price action over the course of a year, many consider that to be a worthwhile investment. You're sure as hell not getting that in a savings account today. So, but when they look at the ebb and flow of crypto and they think, how are you going to run a country based off of this volatility? What are you thinking? What's wrong with you? But when a country is in a situation that El Salvador is, and they start understanding the fundamentals of Bitcoin or crypto or what have you, and they start seeing that long-term growth, maybe they say, yeah, okay, maybe we put everything in at 50,000 and maybe it drops down to 25 for a short term. And maybe it's down to 25 grand for 3 months or 6 months out of a year in an entire cycle. And then it continues to rise up, and every 3-4 years, whatever the case may be, it doubles or triples. Well, we're in a much better position dealing with that than borrowing money from a group that is charging us interest on all of that. And we're constantly in a cycle of debt. We would rather own everything and watch it go up and down than to be in a constant cycle of debt when we're under the control and the whim of somebody else. And I think that what they're doing is true independence, in my opinion. And they don't like that. That's not what we're here for. We're not being structured or molded to be independent of anyone. It's like everything goes down, and it's almost like the entire structure of everything is some kind of pyramid. You've got like this tiny fraction of the population at the very tip top, and everything just spills down from there. And we're all just lemmings. I mean, we're all lemmings trying to dig our way out of a cave that only continues growing deeper and deeper with every reaching breath. And that, to me, is where I see us. However, free thinkers would say Bitcoin poses a threat to the IMF's stranglehold on developing nations through debt. I just said that. Extending this argument further, does crypto pose a threat to the central bank's monopoly of money? If so, one way to strike back is through regulatory overreach and unreasonable tax liabilities. What's the driving force behind this? Officially, the Fed has been somewhat reticent on where it stands with a CBDC. 2 weeks ago, it released a study exploring the pros and cons of a digital dollar. But crucially, the report took no position on the matter of it rolling out. Meanwhile, Bank of America strategists say a digital dollar is inevitable evolution of today's electronic currencies. They expect it to arrive between 2025 and 2030. So ultimately, not necessarily this next potential cycle run up into Bitcoin and everything else, but the one after that. And I something tells me it's going to come faster than that, but we'll see. According to Forbes, with a new banking model in mind, it makes sense to crush the opposition by legislating away any benefits to holding digital assets, which is my concern. And that's what I think a lot of people are waiting for, and ultimately the catalyst for the bear cycle we're now in. If the U.S. or any government wanted to punish Bitcoin in favor of its own digital dollar, one way to go about it would be to increase taxation on crypto investments, which it's already insanely high. Like, give it a fucking rest already. I mean, it seriously. There's so much more I want to say, but I know I would just get penalized. I'll be lucky if this video doesn't somehow get struck or some bullshit because I said something out of line of the tyrannical order that runs every fucking thing and drives us all crazy as shit. So sick of it all. I'm so sick of it all. As Vladimir Signorelli, the president of Bretton Woods Research, said, the threat is all the more credible considering Biden's characterization of the issue as a national security matter. What the administration would do is crack down on Coinbase and others and use regulations to make it so onerous for exchanges, especially if Biden is going to call it a matter of national security. Give me a fucking break already with this shit. I mean, the words, the dramatization of everything these people do. It's like, you know, you have a, oh God, it's mind numbing. mind-numbing, mind-numbing. Anytime there is an agenda or there is some mission or goal in mind on a grand scale, they magnify its importance. They magnify its detriment. Oh my gosh, this splinter could go, and this is an infection that can take over the entire body. We must cut off the entire leg because this splinter could be so much worse. This is the mentality we're dealing with all the time now. All the time. And I see it day in and day out. And it's pure fucking insanity to me. It just is. It's nuts. Everything has to be so dramatic. And it's almost like they make everything so dramatic. So they're over the top, overbearing, insane, like methods of dealing with it are like, oh, okay, good. They really went that hard because that could have been really, really bad. This was a matter of national security. They had to be like absolutely insane with what they did, or otherwise things could have gotten so bad. Give me a fucking break, man. I mean, I'm so getting banned after this video. I just don't even give a shit anymore. I'm so sick of feeling like I have to watch my P's and Q's at every turn because I might say something some fucking snowflake somewhere in some part of the country doesn't fucking like, and then they were gonna like, oh, gotta get rid of this person. They don't belong to our cult, so we're gonna get rid of them and we're gonna cancel them. Fuck you. That's what I have to say anymore. I'm just so over all of this back and forth, right versus left, this like this side versus that side, and everybody's at fucking some kind of civil war with each other because we're all being programmed to think that way. And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I mean, seriously, you know, I'm totally losing my shit in this video. I'm just so beyond done, people. I really am. I'm so done with this fucking clown show. I'm done acting like I am like passive and I'm like, oh, well, it could be this, it could be that. No, this is fucking nuts. Every part of everything going on right now is nuts, in my opinion. And I honestly attribute it to the fall of civilization as a whole. And that's honestly the way I see it. And I think it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets any better whatsoever. And when it does get better, it's going to get better under the guise and the rule of whoever the hell is at the top of the time. And that's what I think. And I think then that person's ultimately going to be controlled by whoever the fuck put them there. Okay. And I don't agree with half of the shit that's going on. And you know, I'm wishing, and I'm getting so far past the point of trying to see the good in everyone. I'm getting past the point of trying to believe that there is a central goodness in the world that ultimately brings all evils and all darkness back to light. And I'm just at a point where I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I have been in my head for so long now. I mean, and it's like a lot of the moves that I've been making have been to prepare for any potential just crazy shit that might come down the pipe. And I tell my wife a lot of this stuff, and you know, you try to scream from the rooftops wherever you can, but a lot of people just don't want to listen. And I you know, people want to have their opinions, and that's fine. Have your opinion, man. That's a whole part of the game, isn't it? Everybody's opinion varying from another. It's those differences of opinion in the education and the argument and the back and forth in a constructive way that keeps the world turning. Why do we have to stop the world from turning? Why is it that your opinion is so right and mine is so wrong, or vice versa? Why can't we agree to have a constructive argument about topics and facts without one part of that equation going fucking ballistic on any emotional trigger they can't fucking handle? Why is it that half of this population seems to be absolutely, purely fucking insane? Why? Where did this all start? I feel like, to some degree, I feel like half this world are like sleeper agents that just decided to get somebody turn them on, and half the world went nuts. Like, that's how I feel. And it's like half of the shit that's going on makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and there's no sense to be made of it. Truly, there's no sense to be made of it. And nobody can talk about anything. Nobody can express themselves in any way. Nobody's allowed to have any kind of opinion that differs from the global narrative that's being pushed on everyone. And if you try to, you just get fucking canceled. Like probably this video will for me. And I just don't give a fuck anymore. That's just how it is. But I'm going to continue with this video in case by the happenstance that the AI that's been programmed to shut any fucking whatever person that doesn't agree with everything down misses it, then, you know, cool. I'm so losing my shit in this video. Oh. If my wife were listening or watched this video, she'd be like, you cannot publish that. What are you doing? It is what it is, man. What does Treasury's Janet Yellen think about crypto? Ultimately, I don't know. This is from thefool.com. Now, the Motley Fool has ultimately been a really good resource for me over the years. It's actually, you know, my uncle who passed away and ultimately got me into investing before he passed away. Literally the last time I saw him, he was a subscriber to the Motley Fool. He was very, very big on the Motley Fool, built his entire dividend portfolio based off of the Motley Fool's guidance, and did very, very well. I mean, did very well. He said, I buy when they say to buy, I sell when they say to sell. And, you know, and he was very, very, very bullish on the Motley Fool. This is an article. I don't know if this is, advertiser disclosure. We do receive compensation from some partners whose offer appear on this page. Oh, okay. So whatever, maybe, I don't know. Is there a banner ad somewhere in here or something? Maybe featured articles. These are probably paid featured articles. Best places to buy Bitcoin. Yeah. Best cryptocurrency apps. Okay. So those are paid. All right. So here's the thing. Ultimately, Biden's plan, and you know, God love the man. I hope he lives a long, healthy life, and I hope he does exceedingly well in his golden years. But something tells me that his plan for crypto is going to really hurt. I really do think it's going to hurt. I think it's, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But ultimately, I'm pretty sure he wants Janet Yellen to take over and just be the pinnacle of decision making for the crypto space, its regulation, and so forth and so on. And so the question is, who is Janet Yellen? Like what, like, you know, she's another old head, you know, but she's apparently a pretty big deal. And she's done some things that few people have. And I commend her on that. I mean, in the sense that it's like, look, you know, people can think whatever they want about Hillary Clinton, and I know there's all the crazy conspiracies and all the nutty stuff about her, but, you know, realistically, it's not easy. It's not easy being green, okay? It's not easy being a woman in politics. It's not easy being a woman in finance. So, you know, these women have done it. Regardless of whatever you might think about them, they've at least done this, okay? When it comes to Janet Yellen, Yellen isn't a crypto fangirl, but she's hardly the enemy. That has yet to be seen, but we'll find out. Janet Yellen is a financial behemoth, having broken many barriers for women throughout her storied career. She spent years as a member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors and later as the chair of the Federal Reserve. Now, Yellen is serving as the first female Secretary of the Treasury, one of the most influential positions in American finance. And part of that role is to help set the tone for how the U.S. government deals with cryptocurrency and crypto brokers. In forums and subreddits, Yellen is often framed as an enemy of crypto. That's basically been my perception of her this entire time. I mean, honestly. But though it's clear that Yellen isn't digital currency's biggest fan, she has yet to come out strongly against it, at least not in its entirety. While wary, Yellen's not against crypto. It's true that Yellen is not exactly wax poetic on the virtues of cryptocurrency, but most of her issues seem to be with the use and misuse of existing digital currencies rather than the overall concept of crypto. That I can honestly agree with. I agree with that because I don't really agree with it either. I mean, listen, folks, I don't care what you think, man. If you think people are paying $2 million for a JPEG of a rock because they just think the value is going to continue to go up, you're nuts. You're just fucking nuts. They're laundering money with this shit, man. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know who owns it or who all's traded it or any of these other things, you know, but a lot of this is it's the new ICO. It's the new whatever. And I think a lot of this stuff kicked off because of the way the tax laws are around quote unquote art. And I think that that's really helping facilitate a lot of this stuff. And so, yeah, it is what it is. And there are a lot of things that the crypto space is being used for that I actually am looking forward to more clear and better regulation on the space. I know in the vein of decentralization and all of that, everybody wants total freedom and to do whatever they want and let, buyer beware and all that fun stuff. And I get all that too, but man, if we're ever going to reach a point of mass global adoption where we're able to use this technology on a daily and it be a part of everything that we do, and being an early adopter for this technology is actually going to continue to mean anything long term, we're going to have to regulate the space better. I mean, it is what it is, folks. I mean, it's like all of the, if we had no police force, in states where the police forces have been like defunded to some extent or whatever, we're seeing, I mean, the numbers are changing in those areas, folks. Let's put it that way. You have to have a police force to keep order. You have to have somebody that people fear, or they're going to run rampant and they're going to take advantage of the situation as much as they possibly can. We don't want that. We don't want that, period. Maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments. It is what it is. Yellen has expressed multiple concerns about Bitcoin in particular, including its potential for funding questionable activities and its environmental impacts. The environmental stuff to me is a big joke. Like, I feel like that's a big joke. I've seen studies on like Bitcoin mining and Ethereum mining and things. And maybe I'll cover that in another video someday. Yellen has been quoted as saying, to the extent it is used, I fear it's often for illicit finance. Well, Yellen, so's cash. I mean, come on. She went on to add, it's an extremely inefficient way of conducting transactions, and the amount of energy that's consumed in processing those transactions is staggering. Not on Cardano. I don't know what to tell you. Not on Cardano. Proof of work algorithms, maybe. But it's still not that bad. And there are a lot of companies that are putting together, solar powered farms and using like wind turbine and all kinds of stuff to try and power these things to reduce costs. And it's just a matter of time until they're all ran and with whatever the latest like solar, wind, whatever alternative energy source there is. So, this is, I mean, there will be a day where we have a massive processing hub somewhere, kind of like before iTunes. I had written this whole pitch about having a central database of songs that people can buy and pull from. I'm always like right at the cusp of when something is about to launch, and I think it's my own idea because I'm just so stinking brilliant. And then like a year later, something comes out, and it's like everything I was writing down on the web somewhere. And I think like, oh, of course, I missed another one. Like, but I mean, there's going to be a day where we're going to have a massive mining hub, and it's going to hold systems for mining, and proof of stake nodes, and it's just going to be a master database. And ultimately it's probably going to be centrally owned and operated, and it's probably going to have something to do with a government somewhere. Okay, or a global, or NATO, maybe NATO will run a giant database of proof of stake nodes running blockchains that they support, and can help facilitate regulatory compliance. I don't know how this shit's going to work, but I think someday it's going to happen. Yellen is hardly the first person to note the connection between crypto and illegal activities such as money laundering, which is absolutely rampant, in my opinion. She's also not wrong about its inefficiency. Bitcoin mining is an energy-heavy process that requires significant power resources. We know all this. This is nothing new. Regulation is a challenge, but necessary. I mean, listen, all the stuff is, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, Janet Yellen does a good job. Hopefully, she's not iron-fisted. Hopefully, and that's my fear, man. I'm at a point now where I'm so exhausted and I'm so tired. I'm so uninspired. I am so Just to a degree, I'm just defeated. I really am. There's a big part of me that just feels defeated, and I want to get ahead of this, and I'm constantly trying to stay ahead of what's happening and where I think the world is going. This isn't just about the US. This is a global thing. Like, everything going on right now is a global thing. And, you know, it's where does someone like me end up in the midst of all of this? Where do we end up when the smoke clears? How much thicker is the smoke going to get before things start to get better? What does it overall mean when a civilization ultimately just declines and a new one rises? And what is that new one going to be? Is it going to be utopic, dystopic? Like, where are we going to be? Are we going to be Blade Runner? Are we going to be like, what's happening? And that's what keeps me up at night. I shit you not, people, I'm sleeping 5 hours a night if I'm lucky right now. And you know, I you know, selling my crypto and waiting for bottoms. I mean, hell, you know, ADA's down almost 50 cents from where it was when I sold it. I think that was a pretty good call. I mean, Bitcoin's down, everything's down from where I sold it. I could buy back in and almost double my portfolio today if I really wanted to. But I think we're probably going to be going a little bit further, and we might have a little bit of a run up because the market is such now that everybody wants to, they're using, you know, options and leverage and all kinds of things, and they're shorting each other, and they're, you know, they're just, it's just a crazy world right now. It is. And I hate to sound like I've absolutely lost my mind. I haven't. I think I've just lost my patience, and I'm continuing to lose my patience because everywhere I turn, there's a vice getting tighter, and it's just like, when is enough for the people to control everything? That's the question. Like, you know, it's like, you know, when you're young upcoming stud, you're just chasing tail, right? You're just trying to get a flashy whip, attract a few girls, put a little scratch in your pocket, and like, you know, just live a happy dude life, right? Until you start to, you know, mature and you know, then it's not all about that anymore. Now you actually care that the girl can talk, okay? Like, let's just be real. I mean, when we're young and dumb, and we're just scanning, we're just looking for like the next gazelle, and we don't care about anything else. But as we get older, we start to appreciate, you know, opinions and values and things that matter, and you start to think about family, and it's like we mature, our hormones change, everything changes. Your goal in life isn't just about chasing women anymore. It's about, you know, being in love and growing something, you know, growing something together, growing a family, growing an environment, right? And, you know, when it's like it happens in stages of adulthood and maturity, you know, it's like, you know, early on, women are, you know, they start out like just like reading books, dancing, and I don't know, making friends and giggling. And then they discover boys, and then it's like a game, like which one's an asshole, which one is just chasing gazelles, and which one cares about me for me, right? And it's like, and then they mature over time, and you realize, yeah, you know, you might want something in the middle somewhere. And like, and then from there, everything just starts to grow, right? And it's like, I look at a similar thing when I think about people with money. And I think about the adoption of, or the accumulation of power and wealth. It's like, where does it end? You know, you have somebody like, oh, they have a successful business. They've accomplished something. They make it a little bit of money. What excites them next? What's the next challenge? Where do things go? Oh, this person made $1 billion. Now they don't ever have to think about money again. Now what's going to make them feel successful or give them a challenge? Well, things ultimately can branch off in a bunch of different directions from there. And ultimately what I see happening is it becomes a power grab. It becomes it's not about the money anymore, because I have more money than I know what to do with. Now it's about, how can I change the world? What direction in changing the world do you know, when you hit those crossroads, like, I can change it for the better, or I could change it for the worse. What do I want to accomplish from here? And I just feel like at some point people reach, you know, kind of like Squid Games, you know, it's like those people, like the whole thing is ultimately funded by a group of wealthy people that are just bored. And they get their rocks off by watching the ultimate complete destruction of, you know, hundreds of people trying to fight for what they've already got and don't even care about anymore. You know, and it's like, I don't know, man. I just wish I just wish there was more humanity and more desire to bring people up instead of push them down. There's absolutely no excuse whatsoever that we have so many homeless people all over the world. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. Any administration, any group of politicians, any group of people running around trying to pretend like they're here to help would have already taken care of that problem years and years and years ago. And until the stuff like that, the most simple, fundamental issues that we have as a country, until those are resolved, don't come to me and tell me you're here to help. You know, don't blow smoke up my ass trying to make me believe you're here for the better good of humanity. When you can't, when you're funneling millions and millions of dollars into bullshit projects left and right that mean nothing to anybody but 5 people in a lab somewhere, you know, and then, you know, we've got family members and people that are struggling, eating out of trash cans and living in tents, have an entire city within a state, you know, that for homeless people. Don't tell me that you're here to help. You're not here to help them. You might be here to help, but it's not the public. It's the people that put you in the seat you're sitting in. Those are who you're here to help. Everything else to me is just one big joke. It's a mirage. It's a play. And you're not fooling me. Just so you know, you're not fooling me. And while you're out there and you're pandering to those who want something to believe in so badly, they want to believe something so much that they'll believe anything they're being told just so that they can sleep at night. I don't need any fucking sleep. I'm sure as hell not getting any now. So on that note, this is RBX Samurai. This is a paid segment. Disclosure or whatever is in the thing below. Actually, this is a pretty cool project. This video is going to take forever to upload because it's almost an hour of me rambling like a lunatic. But I don't know. I had to get a bunch of stuff out. It is what it is. You don't have to agree with me. Still love you. The question is can you still love me even though you may not agree with some of the things that I think? That could be the problem. I love you no matter what you think, as long as you're not forcing it on me, as long as you're not, you know, you do you. That's just the way I see it. That's the way it's always been. We don't have to agree, but I don't have to hate you because you don't agree. I haven't been programmed that way. Right? I mean, that's just the way it is. I feel like the people that look at others with a difference in opinion and then suddenly hate them, you're ignorant. Sorry, you're just ignorant. You're programmed. You're truly brainwashed, because it's only a brainwashing that could make people hate someone of a difference of opinion. It truly blows my mind. That's when your entire world is focused around emotional triggers and not necessarily reality. So listen, if you could watch this video and have a difference in opinion and still be like, he's still cool, he just doesn't think like me. Good, we're on the same page. I feel the same way about you. You get triggered and you start going ape shit and you're throwing stuff and you're cussing me out, seek fucking help. All right. Anyway, marketing for crypto, full service marketing agency built specifically for the cryptocurrency market. Now, I ultimately thought about doing something like this a while back. And it sounds like these guys are doing it. I mean, they're very low volume right now at 24,000. Their volume is down 87%. This is going to be a struggle. But they're still working. Current market cap, 3 million. Now, here's the thing. This is one of their bullet points. I'm just going to read this verbatim because I this isn't my opinion or anything. This is just something that they've explained. Why should someone invest? Okay, this is not my opinion. I'm literally just reading this, but it's going to be the easiest way of explaining it. For our community, we provide 48% APY staking on RBX DEX. We will be available on multiple chains, ERC, BSC, from 129, so January 29th, or a couple days ago is when it kicked off, and AVAX and Matic in the coming weeks. So you're going to be able to find this on some other chains here soon. Marketing other coins provides income, which is reinvested back into RBXS through buybacks, then placed in the staking pool. As we market larger and larger coins, it attracts more attention on our coin. Touche. We are currently number 2 on BSC for social engagement and can create 90 posters and 10 videos a day and then put out material with 70 others. As our team grows in strength and numbers, the amount of available supply for the community will become very limited. So ultimately what they're saying is they're a marketing agency that utilizes their own coin, and through the marketing of other paid clients, they're attracting more attention on a growing scale to their own project, which is actually pretty cool. Now, at one point I had an idea, and I talked about it in videos. I've talked about it on Twitter and other things where, I thought, what if there was like a kind of a universal YouTube token, right? There was a token that, creators and things could invest into or receive based off of channel metrics and ultimately share in the growth of their token, because everybody could use that to accept paid segments, right? Even a third party system by which, somebody wants to do a paid segment on Crypto Crow. All right, cool. You go to this website, you buy the whatever the token is, and and we're receiving something. You're also receiving something else. And then when you buy those, you pay with those tokens. It is a bit of a cycle. But ultimately, as we everybody would continue adding use case and things, and maybe I don't know. There's so many different ways of like slicing that up. But ultimately, I thought it'd be a really good idea. These guys do something kind of like that. That's ultimately what this is, and it's on a much bigger scale, and it's not necessarily focused directly on YouTube. Apply now for startups and established coins. There's a submit form, the community track record. We have marketed over 30 coins, fine-tuning our approach and process for successful and proven results. We train and develop our community while marketing to provide continued growth even after our services have ended. Hierarchy. The hierarchy is a reward system for active members in leadership, content creation, shilling, and other disciplines deemed useful to RBXS. As you move up the ranks, your rewards increase, and you also get to share in client revenue. Anyone is free to join. Growth. All ranking members, Samurai and up, are paid through being given a pre-staked position. As the price of the coin goes up, so does everyone's pay. This incentivizes members of all ranks to work hard and find ways to improve the community. So ultimately, they're building their own group around this token, but paid for and funded by marketing clients. I honestly think this is a brilliant idea. I don't know a whole lot outside of what I read, but I think it's a pretty damn brilliant idea. What is RBXS use case? Use case is to provide marketing for other coins that generate revenue and put that revenue into their liquidity. What blockchain will the project be on? RBXS is currently available on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain networks. We will be adding the AVAX and Matic chains in the quarter 1 and 2 of 2022. Where will the contract be available? The contract is currently available on Uniswap, RBX Dex, Pancake Swap, and BKEX. What is the total supply? 100 million tokens, which from what I see anymore, man, when you've got all these Shiba Inus and all this other stuff with trillions of tokens or whatever, 100 million tokens isn't terrible. What is the recommended slippage? We recommend using default slippage, which I don't remember what it is, but I think it might be 6%. I'm not sure. You'll have to check on whatever platform. What are the RBXX tokenomics? No tax on buys, 2.5% tax on sells on the Ethereum network, 5% tax on sells on the BSC AVAX Matic network. Tax fees go to marketing and the community fund. What is the hierarchy? A system that allows anyone who truly believes in the project to rise through the ranks through hard work and shilling, content creation and leadership. I love their like kind of tongue in cheek, like shilling. Telegram community, it's growing, 9,000 people. I'm following it. I'm paying attention because ultimately I love samurais. I love ninjas more, but I love a samurai. And excuse me, struggling a bit. You've got the information you want here. Buy, stake, Avalanche and Polygon are coming soon. I wouldn't mind seeing something like this on Cardano. I just want to see everything running on Cardano, even though it's super congested right now. That'll be another video. The community, here's the video. We'll watch this video real quick and hopefully it'll help you guys. I should probably mute myself though.
What is the Marketing Samurai Token Community Hierarchy? RBXS was created to build an unstoppable community of talented members for blockchain collaboration. A community hierarchy was established to build member participation through status recognition and financial incentives. To incentivize community exchange, RBXS wallet-to-wallet transfers are free of tax. Every RBXS cell will send 2.5% to a community wallet to pay those who participate in building the community. Any and all coin holders will enjoy the opportunity to stake their coins for a 4% monthly return or 48% yearly return. Simply holding and staking RBXS will automatically put you into the nobility court. Joining the Telegram group and being an active community member will make you an elite soldier. Keep up the good work of positive collaboration and promotion, and you'll move to become an honorable samurai. When you are a samurai, you are rewarded with a 0.1% total supply from the community wallet as a pre-stake position and pays an 8% monthly return. This reward ranking members and protects the RBXS project and coin value. Lead more people to become samurai and raise your status to daimyo to receive 0.25% from the community wallet. Shoguns are paving the way for future leaders to grow and collaborate on new projects hosted by RBXS. They may run one of the many social media platforms for RBXS and usually manage several people. They will receive 0.5%, and it won't be an easy task. If you work hard, then the rewards will pay off. At this level, RBXS payment is a perk. The people you will meet will be your future team members, collaborators, or employers. If you reach Shogun, you have access to a massive community of creatives, marketers, and programmers, all of which not only working on making RBXS successful, but also creating new projects under the RBXS umbrella. The title of King and Queen will be very rare. This rank holds the highest responsibility and the greatest rewards at 1%. The samurai army grows in skill and in numbers each and every day. Join the Telegram and be part of this amazing community.
So yeah, excuse me. Jeez, I hate when people do that in the mic, but here I am. Yeah, that I think it looks cool. I mean, to me, this could be a fun thing, especially if you're like, you're an aspiring Twitter person and you're full of spunk and gusto and you want to get out there and try to promote something that could be worthwhile. Check it out. I mean, the link will be in the description below. Check it out, learn all you can, do as much research as you can, join the Telegram group, follow them on Twitter, get on their Reddit, so forth and so on. They have a Discord channel, even Instagram. Check it out, see if it's something you want to get involved in. If you do, I mean, listen, in a nutshell, I honestly, I think we're going lower as in a market overall, but the price of the token is pretty low. So it's not, you're not exactly like buying into something at the top and waiting for it to crash on you. So it could be worthwhile. I don't know. But I think it was 2 cents or something. Yeah, 0.2 cents, maybe 3 cents. So, I don't know, check it out. I mean, it could be fun. I like stuff like this personally. I like, coming, to everything really with a bit of a marketing background and things. I appreciate, kind of a way of empowering a public to, join, an army of other people kind of all working together in some sense in terms of building the valuation of a token project. And, its use case being, you're basically buying it to pay for advertising campaigns and things that are ultimately, facilitated by those that are, buying and holding the token and staking it and earning rewards based off of how well they do it. I don't know, man. I think it's a pretty cool idea. Check it out. Let me know in the comments below if this is the kind of thing you could have some fun with. I don't know if I might get involved to some extent and try it out just for something to do. I just finished printing this on my new 3D printer, just because I love robots. And so I printed this and I'm cleaning it up and I'm going to paint it. And so I'll show everybody once it's done. I'm waiting for my sanding tools because I mistakenly spent 6 days printing that thing with supports everywhere. And it ultimately, this started like a big block. And I have a box full of plastic flash and everything else I've cut off of this thing. So yeah, I mean, until next time, guys, hopefully I don't get banned. I don't know. At this point, nothing shocks me anymore. But you know, everything in this video is just an opinion only. It's a little bit of a rant, obviously some venting, some frustration. I wish things would get better. I so hope everything gets better. I've just had enough of the craziness. I really have, and I don't necessarily see much end in sight just yet. And I don't know. I'm tired of feeling defeated, and I'm tired of feeling like I need to live in fear. I mean, I'm in a point in my life where I've worked so hard to get where I'm at and to accomplish what I have, and I don't want to spend the rest of my years just in fear of what's next. And but unfortunately, I feel like that's where we're at. And the thing of it is, it's not just a US thing. I mean, this is how things are everywhere right now. And I don't know the end goal. And until I can fully understand the end goal, it's just I'm always going to be I'm a worry. I worry a lot. And my wife tells me I worry way too much about everything. But you know, I feel like it's the people that worry that are always trying to come up with solutions to help people, help themselves, get everybody in a better position. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Hopefully this video finds you well. Hopefully me having an opinion doesn't get me canceled in the world. Who knows? If it does, it's just I don't know. It just is what it is at this point. It wouldn't shock me because everything's fucking nuts anyway. So that's it. Crow your coins. I'll see you again maybe soon. Bye, folks.